In this WrestleTalk news, has MJF been written off TV? Tony Khan blasts Eric Bischoff, CM Punk reacts to comments about his popularity in AEW, and more.
Support WrestleTalk!
One of the biggest matches on last night's Double or Nothing card was Wardlow versus MJF, with the stipulation being if Wardlow won, he'd no longer be under a contract with MJF and would instead be signed by AEW. Wardlow did win the match, hitting MJF with no less than 10 huge power bombs, but as you may have seen, the result really isn't the story here. The whole saga began when it emerged that MJF had no-showed a fan meet and greet, and things got even spicier when it was reported that he'd also booked flights out of Las Vegas, suggesting he may have been planning to miss Double or Nothing altogether. The preview for MJF vs Wardlow was even removed from social media and YouTube for some time before being re-uploaded, which suggests there may have been some time where AEW believed the match may not be happening at all. Thankfully for Tony Khan at least, MJF didn't make that flight and remained in Las Vegas for the show and the match. Initial reports were that MJF had not been spotted in the arena just a few hours before the show started, but as Sean Rossat reported, MJF showed up shortly before his match, left right after, and has a lot to think about. A real Brock Lesnar move. Tony Khan was asked about the entire affair during the post-show media scrum, but was unsurprisingly unwilling to go into any details, simply responding, "I'm not going to comment on that. I've got a lot of stuff on the pay-per-view that I can comment on, but I'm not going to comment on that." So what's next for MJF in AEW? Well, it appears the answer to that may be that he won't be on TV for some time at all. Following his match with Wardlow, MJF was placed in a neck brace and escorted out of the arena on a stretcher, and while this is likely a kayfabe injury angle, the reason for it seems to be that MJF is being written off TV for the immediate future. According to PW Insider, the current belief within AEW is that MJF will not be on the road for at least the next several TV tapings, and possibly longer. There continues to be a vocal minority of fans who believe the whole situation is one big old work, but from every single report we've seen, this is very much a real situation, and there is a lot of tension between MJF and AEW management. Fightful Select reported over the weekend that MJF's deal, which we knew finished at some point in 2024, actually finishes on January 1st, 2024, which is just 581 days away. By that time, Thunder Rosa may have had another TV match as AEW champion. Assuming the report is accurate, AEW has around a year and a half to either convince MJF to stay or presumably to see another one of its top stars join WWE. How Tony Khan was able to convince MJF to stay in Las Vegas and put Wardlow over, we simply don't know, but more details will no doubt emerge as time goes on. What we can say is that you shouldn't expect to see MJF for quite some time. Do you think MJF is staying in AEW, or is this the final straw for Tony Khan? Let me know in the comments below. While he didn't want to talk about MJF, one thing that Tony Khan was very, very happy to talk about was Eric Bischoff, who has been doing his best to stay out of everyone's good books in AEW recently. One person you really don't want to start an argument with is former WCW owner Eric Bischoff. Not because he's very good at arguments, but because it seems like he just never stops arguing when the argument starts, and so it's probably better just to leave him screaming into the void about how much he hates everything that isn't WCW. One of his most recent targets was new AEW World Champion CM Punk, who Bischoff labeled the biggest financial flop in wrestling history, which, coming from the former owner of WCW, is quite saying something. AEW President Tony Khan clearly saw these comments because he had a lot to say on the matter in the post-Double or Nothing media scrum. When asked about Bischoff's Punk comments, Khan went on an expletive-filled rant, so apologies for the many beeps you're about to hear, and sorry for my language, mother. That's bullshit. I can tell you there's only one person that can attest to that. We do have a good amount of financial data in pro wrestling, and I can tell you no one single wrestler has ever come in and made a bigger difference in the history of my company. This is the 3rd year anniversary this week, and we're going into year 4. No one person has ever made a more positive impact. He went on to give evidence to support his claim that Punk had been a huge success, citing the record pay-per-view buys Double or Nothing 2022 appears to have achieved. We have just had a record pay-per-view buy. He's done a 4 pay-per-view cycle now. Every one of them was the record. He won the Friday Night War. He did the first dance. He's done the record Double or Nothing. He did the record All Out on his debut. He was the big part of the record Full Gear. He's the biggest part of financial success in the history of this company. But Tony, Eric Bischoff said he wasn't a success, so why should I believe you, the man who actually has access to AEW's financials? Oh, yes, I can see now why. Very, very good, sir. I can't wait to hear Bischoff's next rant about Punk, which I imagine he'll do tomorrow because apparently I keep having to cover it in the Wednesday WrestleTalk news. Yippee! During the same post-show media scrum, CM Punk was given the opportunity to respond to rumours that he may not be overly popular in the AEW locker room, which were fueled in no small part by Hangman Page's promo, in which he said he was defending AEW from Punk. In response to these rumours, Punk said, "I've grown so wise in my old age that I'll do my best to be as diplomatic as I possibly can with this answer. If there are people backstage that don't like me, it's a minority. If anybody says that nobody wants me here or nobody likes me, I'd like to say that nobodies don't like me and nobodies don't want me here." Ooh, sick burn, bro. Following last week's AEW Dynamite, Ollie and Luke speculated on the Dynamite podcast review that Punk may be turning heel, but based on this response and the fact that he went on to thank everyone in AEW like he just won an Oscar, that heel turn is not happening anytime soon. Famous last words, I suppose?
Visit WrestleShop.com every day for the most stupendous in wrestling merchandise. WrestleShop.com, wrestling merch for grown-ups.
Wow, such amazing merchandise! Last week, WWE filed to trademark Ava Raine as a new name for one of its wrestlers, and we now know that the name was for Simone Johnson, real-life daughter of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Changing the name of The Rock's daughter? Well, I'm just gonna head over onto Twitter because from what I recall, Twitter users are always very level-headed individuals who never get unnecessarily angry about anything. In fact, I would bet good money that not one Twitter user is upset about this name change. Oh wait, someone called Louis Dangor has been tweeting about it. Louis was of the opinion that not using some form of the Johnson name was a big mistake on WWE's part, but Simone, or as we now have to call her, Ava, didn't agree. In response to the criticism, of which there was a lot, and only some of it from Louis, Ava tweeted, "I probably sound like a broken record, and hopefully this is the last time I'll mention it, but I don't understand why people being portrayed as separate individuals from their family name is such a heated topic. A name doesn't discredit any prior accomplishments from any family." Shrugging emoji. "I could build my entire career around my father and people would still bash me anyway." Shrugging emoji. Ava then tweeted a screenshot from Google which showed a number of different types of rock, which I already knew the names of because I paid attention in geography class. She doesn't want to be named after any rock formations, she just wants to pull up her stalactites and get on with her career. She continued by saying she could base her entire career off her father and people would still bash her. On Twitter? Surely not! I actually happen to agree with Louis here, but saying that out loud is bad for my excellent street rep. Oh wait, no, cut the tape! It has now been nearly 3 months since former WWE champion Big E suffered a sickening neck injury during a tag match on SmackDown. New Day star landed directly on the top of his head following a botched belly-to-belly suplex from Ridge Holland. The match was immediately stopped, and while Big E would hold a thumbs up to the crowd, everyone feared the worst. He would later give an update from his hospital bed and revealed he had indeed broken his neck, but that he thankfully wouldn't require any surgery. At the time of the incident, a doctor warned this kind of injury could spell the end of a wrestler's career, and these fears were then increased when Big E himself admitted the rehab wasn't going 100% to plan. At the start of May, he tweeted, "For those desirous of an update, my C1 apparently isn't healing optimally. I'll spend another 4 to 6 weeks in a brace in hopes that I can avoid a fusion. But you don't fret, I've got a tremendous support system, and what shall be, shall be." Well, in some more positive news, Big E has posted a photo to his Instagram yesterday in which he wasn't wearing a neck brace. While this is likely just so he can undergo ultrasound treatment on his broken bone, it is at least good to see that he is now able to remove the neck brace, which he had to wear for nearly 3 months after the incident. As always, every single person at WrestleTalk sends their best wishes to Big E. We are rooting for you so hard and really hope to see you back in the ring one day soon.
CM Punk is your new AEW World Champion. MJF was buried in his match with Wardlow, and plenty of debuts in AEW 2. Here's my review of AEW Double or Nothing in about 10 minutes.